I watched the movie over the weekend and it left me confused, shocked, and flabbergasted. It was a Nigerian movie, not on Netflix, so I didn't expect the best from it to be honest. And yet here I was, 3 days after, still huffing and puffing. He slapped you, but you are the one God said you should marry. He slapped you, but you are the one God but you are the one God said you should. This movie encompassed faith, desperation stemming from societal expectations, and serious shaggy. This was my summarized thoughts at the end of the movie. Shame! Remy and Monica Pell. Watching this movie, shame held my hand. We stood watching the sunset and he said, "We are one." Hello, and welcome back, people, to my YouTube channel, Discover Temple in Person. This is I, the Jessica Suji. How's everyone doing today? I watched a movie, Last to Marry, produced by Pastor Laju Ingwe, and I felt like I should talk about it because I have a lot of things to say. People have probably seen that in the intro. There are lots of things on my mind to discuss about this movie, so I was like, what other time would be best to talk about it if not now, when it's still just coming out? Last to Marry is a movie. It's actually a Christian movie that gets you thinking about love, faith, and the expectations and the pressures that society places on women that are getting to marriageable age. But does it do justice to these themes? We're going to break it down in this video. We're going to start with characters. There are three main characters in this movie, but I'm going to add the therapist at the end of this session. I'm just going to include her in the characters because I have something to say about the therapist. The therapist is acted by Pastor Laju Ire herself. The first person we're going to be discussing today is Abidemi, and there is a lot to talk about concerning Abidemi. My book is full of her. She has a lot we need to discuss on her. I'd have saved her for like third or last, but I just felt like I need to get it off my chest. All the things I have to say, I need to get it off my chest before I explode. So, who is Abidemi in this movie, Last to Marry? She is a 33-year-old independent, industrious, successful woman that is working at a very successful looking company, and she is plagued daily by the thought of not being married at the age of 33 turning 34. So apparently she has calls, like I think regular calls from her mom asking her, oh, why haven't you married, why haven't you married? Had two best friends, whose names I can't really remember because they didn't really play any significant role in this story, are already married and apparently already have kids. So basically it's like she's the only one in her immediate surroundings who is not married or with child, and this is like a stick to her heart, it's like a dagger to her chest, and that's basically what causes this whole movie. That's basically the point of this whole movie. A woman who just wants to get married. She just wants to get the ring. She just wants to get the ring, okay? And so it leads her to make very, very foolish mistakes. We're gonna talk about Abidemi in depth, so I hope you guys are ready. Get out your books. Just a little into the movie, we can see Abidemi crying to God in prayers, talking about how she wants a husband, that everybody around her has a husband. This was a really heart-wrenching, guts-wrenching prayer that a lot of viewers could relate to. They're like, she mentioned some things that people literally say in their closet, and so it touched like real-life people. I really like the prayers, although I've discussed with people who didn't like the prayers because it still showed that there was a fundamental problem wrong with Abidemi, which is lack of self-love. But I personally like the prayers because it was so raw. People think this thought, especially Christian girlies. I've been a virgin all my life, I've saved myself all my life, I've been good to you, I've served you. Why aren't you giving me my heart desires? And trust me, it's not only about marriage, it's about anything. It could be about wealth, it could be about health, it could be about anything. Christian people tend to, would I say, blame God when they don't receive their heart desires after they've been good children to God. And so this is something that a lot of people could relate to, like, exactly, but everybody else who's not serving you is getting what they want. So I'm not going to go too deep into that. I'm just going to focus on Abidemi and the fact that there was just a clear sign that Abidemi lacked love at home. And what do I mean by Abidemi lacked love at home, and how do I mean that it was a fundamental problem? I can know if you lack love at home from the people that you relate to, like how you relate to men. That's how I can know if you lack love at home. Abidemi, there was a part in the movie where Abidemi was telling Adetunji, that is one of her true love interests, which we'll come to shortly. She was telling her love interest that he's the best, he's been the kindest man to her in... Basically that he's the best in after Agege bread. He's been the kindest man to her in a very long time, something like that. And it just really stood out to me, like, what do you mean by that? Don't you have a father? Don't you have brothers? Don't you have friends? So it just really shows that from the background, Abidemi was never truly loved at home. She didn't get that parental love or that friendly love, that platonic love that she should have gotten as she was growing up. And it really influenced her adult age and adult behavior, because when she was tolerating shit from people in her adult life, it showed that people didn't really love her in her young life. So she doesn't know what true love looks like. And when I even say true love, I don't even mean romantic love, because romantic love is one thing, but just getting that platonic healthy love, Abidemi never had it. And I think this is something that a lot of Nigerians need to learn. We downplayed those years where the children are supposed to be taught love, supposed to be showered with love and care and attention and affection. And we just, I don't know, I think we like taking the easy way out of things, because when I see the way some parents handle their children in this Nigeria, I don't know whether it's the poverty or the illiteracy. I just wonder, how do you expect this child to grow up and not have many psychological problems? How do you expect them to grow up and not have many illnesses plaguing them? How do you expect to grow up in God's will for them? You are their first teacher of love. You are their first show of love. And how you treat those their formative years will depend on if they will grow up in God's will or not. And it's not just about taking them to church. That's what a lot of Christian homes don't know. You can take your child to church every Sunday and they will still deviate from God's plan for their life, because you did not teach them the love of Christ. So when they grow up and meet a group of people in university that love them, that are showing them love and care, but after showing them love and care, they will take them to cult initiation and initiate them into cults, they would obviously agree, because for the first time in my life, I am meeting people that care about me genuinely, that want to see me like better, that genuinely care about my well-being, that ask me, how are you doing, and actually want to know the answer to that. So why would I not follow them and do cults? What is cults? Love, brotherhood, sisterhood? Sign me up! I think that's something that we can learn. If we don't show our children the model of love, and that even starts from our marriage, that is the way your parents treated themselves. That's the first education your children will get on love. Then the way you treat them is the second education they will get on love. So a lot of parents, especially Nigerian parents, miss it in this stage. That's why you see their daughters and their sons growing up to become terrible people with low self-esteem, because they were never taught that. You'd have to teach self-esteem. Yes, self-esteem doesn't come up from the blues. You have to make a child feel confident in themselves. And how does that work? It works from when they are growing up. Do you allow them express themselves? Do you allow them say what they have to say? Do you make them think that I am smart? Do you allow them make calculated decisions by themselves? Or do you just do everything for them and then expect them one day to know how to handle it all? So that's my first fault with Abidemi. It shows she was never loved at home. Now we're going to go into Abidemi's love interest, Amata and Adetunji. Let's go. So, Amata. I have a lot to say about Amata. In fact, I feel like this Amata character is so relatable to me. Not me personally, but I feel Christian sisters as a whole. We all know those Christian brothers that they speak in tongues. They are fireful brothers. They are, but their character, smelling, disgusting character. Anytime I see those kind of people, remind me of 1 Corinthians 13. I'm going to put this on the screen here. But we see something about how you prophesy, speak in tongues, and you don't have love in your heart for your neighbor, for people, then you are basically like a clashing symbol. The first time I read that chapter, it was so touching to me, because I was like, exactly. It was as if it was like a revelation. Because I've always had these thoughts in my mind. Like, I see a lot of Christians that speak in tongues, that work in the miraculous, that are always in the supernatural, but when you meet them face to face, you want to have a conversation with them, you are irritated. Because they are so rude, they are so dishonorable, they don't have to honor men. They believe that, no, it's only like some particular, maybe Daddy Adeboye that can be revered. Every other person, you have not reached their spiritual depths, and so they disregard you. And I used to wonder, like, are you reading the same Bible I'm reading? And I think a lot of people don't know. We can walk in the miraculous once you are saved. Like, walking in the miraculous is basically a gift of the Spirit. It doesn't mean that you are a good person. And people don't know that, and it's something that people need to know. See, when you are saved, I'm going to do this a little talk on salvation. When you are saved, right, you're receiving Christ's Spirit. Like, there's this book I read that's talking about body, soul, and spirit. The soul is in between the body and the spirit and the body. So the soul is like a tap. So when you become saved and you receive Christ's Spirit, you need to actually read your Bible and pray every day. The Bible will say renewing your mind. So you're renewing your mind. As you're renewing your Bible, read the Bible, reading what the Bible tells you, learning about Christ and his characteristics, which is mainly love. It's as if a tap is opening and the Christ spirit is seeping into your body and subduing your fleshy behaviors. Do you understand? So as if you're opening a tap and the spirit is seeping in. And every time you're not reading your Bible, the tap is closing. The tap is closing back until your flesh starts overriding the spirit. Because like you said in Galatians 5, the spirit and the flesh are constantly at war. And that war will continue until you open up a Bible and read. It's lack of knowledge that makes your flesh win. A lack of knowledge of what? The Bible. So when I see people say, oh, he's a man of God, oh, he's a man of God, so he's definitely a good man, it's not true. It's not true. You are saying he's a man of God because he can prophesy, because he can speak in tongues. But you are not saying he's a man of God because he's lovely or because he's a lovely person. You're saying he's a man of God because he can speak in tongues. But every believer can speak in tongues. Depends on if you want to or not. So if you decide to walk in speaking tongues, you have walked in it. It really didn't matter. That doesn't make you a man of God. Do you understand what I'm saying? That doesn't make you a good person. I saw a girl that I don't think she's religious. She was talking about it on TikTok, and she was like how, oh, people believe that, oh, a man that loves God, it will definitely love you, right? And she was like, no, that's not true. And I didn't support her. Do you know why I didn't support her? Because her idea of a man that loves God is a man like Amata. That, oh, he speaks in tongues. Oh, he's going to church every day. So you think he will love you? It's a lie. Yes, it's a lie. I stand with you. But that's not a man that loves God. Do you understand? A man that loves God is not a man that speaks in tongues. A man that loves God is a man that loves his neighbor as himself. God literally gave us one commandment. Those 10 commandments are leading to one commandment. Love your neighbor as yourself. If you are loving your neighbor as yourself, you are loving God. That time that Jesus was saying, oh, well, you did not help me and something, and they were like, how we have served you all our lives. I don't know why all the Bible verses are skipping my mind, but I will try and put it up here. And it was like, oh, you did not help the sick and you did not give to the poor, something like that. That is exactly the truth. If you do not love your neighbor as yourself, you do not love God. It's not about church going. Church going is good, of course, honor the assembly of believers. But you should also love your neighbor. If you tell me Amata is a saved man, I believe that. And I believe he's on a journey and God can help him get better. But if you tell me that because of that, Amata will love you, I don't believe that. Because Amata hasn't gotten to where he has gotten to. And where he's supposed to have gotten to, he's supposed to have gotten to a stage where he can love you as Christ loved the church. That is when a man is ready for marriage. When he can love you as Christ loved the church. Until then, you are wasting your time. You are wasting your time. Speaking in tongues is not the key for a person to love you. Alright? Alright, ladies. So basically, Amata is not a spiritual man. It was being re-emphasized by Abidemi. So I was just trying to make it straight and clear. Amata is not a spiritual man. Amata is a man that is saved and is on a journey. Okay? He's on a journey to somewhere. He hasn't gotten there yet. He hasn't. And I want to discuss something else about Amata. Amata kept saying, oh, I'm only with you because God said I should be with you. So quick one, and I'm going to shake a table here. God doesn't easily give wives or husbands. There's this notion in the Christian community that, oh no, I'm waiting for God to bring my husband to me. You will wait till eternity. You will wait for a very long time on hunting. You will keep waiting forever. God doesn't easily give people wives or husbands. I said easily because it's not entirely impossible, but it's not an everyday thing that God is just out here be like, you're in this one, you're in this one. No, that's not the way it works, honey pie. It's not. You actually have to go outside and look for a man. You actually have to go outside and look for a woman. And then, if you see yourself liking this woman, you cannot present it to God. I'm like, Baba God, bless you, they follow this woman and talk. I like him. How you reason him? That's it. There's no one where it is that God will come and say, hello bros, come. This is wife. It happens for some people, but that's why I say it's a very select group of people. Example, use Hosea as the example. How many people in the Bible did you see that God gave them wife? Apart from Hosea. How many people in the Bible did you see that God gave them a wife? So anybody that comes and tell you, oh sister, God say you're my wife, is a lie. You post this for your face. Because if you don't post me for your face, tomorrow you gonna post me for your face. My darling girl, run for your life. Take your slippers like this, do like this. And run. That man is not serious. He has not opened the Bible in a long time. Please, that's just something to say on the matter. Amata is not serious. He's not a serious man. He's not ready for marriage. He's not ready. He's not even ready in his Christian journey. He needs to do more. He's going to go and do missionary when he should be at home. reading the First Corinthians 13 and learning the habits of a man of God. That's, you know, love does not boast, love is kind. He did not see that part of the Bible. He should sit down, study that part of the scripture, meditate on it instead of going for mission. He's there going for me. I don't know who he's sending to that mission. That's that on the matter. Next person. Adetunji. Adetunji, my sweet Adetunji. So Adetunji was portrayed as a Muslim man who was good. He was a good man, Savannah. You know, he was nice. A good man. He was caring. He cared about her. He stood up for her to a matter. And basically, just in general, he was a sweet guy. You know, that's what the movie portrayed him to be. That was the movie implied, that he was a sweet guy. I, however, do not think he was a sweet guy. I think he was a better option. You know, I think that Hollywood does, where they either give you a bad boy that's completely annoying or a nerdy good guy. That's exactly what this movie did. It gave you Amata, a horrifying, devilish-like person, and then gave you Adetunji, a guy that is not all that much better. But then they're like, well, in comparison, he's better. No, he's not. No, he's not. And we will not be settling for less. We will not be settling for less. First of all, Adetunji, the reason why I do not like him, apart from the fact that he was doing kind things, I don't know why doing kind things for your partner is regarded as so great a thing. Before, Uncle, will you do bad things to your partner? Won't you be nice to your partner? Ha! Now wow, now they chop shit too. But that's even by the way. The reason why I did not like Adetunji, or the reason why I was like, Adetunji, was because of the way he treated her faith. Now, we're going to talk about faith and religion as another section of this review. But I just want to talk about the fact that Adetunji acted very strangely to her religion. First of all, if you're planning to marry someone of a different religion, I don't know why anytime the person talks about their religion, it's annoying you. What do you think the person was talking about before? No, answer me. Because I don't understand. You know that this girl is a devout Christian. She's silly, all the same, but she's a devout Christian, right? Or she claims to be a devout Christian. So what do you not expect her to talk about her faith? Every time this girl, Abidemi, brought up her faith, I don't you give her this exasperation. Oh my God! Oh my goodness! Not again! What do you mean, Jesus Christ? I mean, I knew that you were a believer who went to church and served Jesus, but what do you mean, Jesus Christ? Who is that stinking, stupid ass, stupid man? Who is stupid? You stupid girl! Miss Ma'am, Mr. Sir, you knew that she was of another faith. Why are you always surprised? Why are you always treating it like she's being burdensome by talking about how she believes about her own faith? You cannot be claiming to be nonchalant about religion in a marriage and then be confused or be annoyed when your partner brings up religion. Then you're not nonchalant. You're just a liar. Okay? Number 2, the entire concept of second wives, polygamy. I personally hate polygamy. I hate it because I feel like it's a subsection of the patriarchy. And I know I may get a lot of backlash for this, but that's just what I feel about polygamy, and it's a personal opinion. You can have whatever opinion you like in this life, so long as you're open to your partners about it. But I personally feel like polygamy is a subsection of the patriarchy. It's an idea that propagates the fact that women, propagates the idea, you know, that women are like properties that you can add to your list. Oh, today I'll get one wife, tomorrow I get another wife, tomorrow I get another wife. Like, so long as you have money, you can acquire women like properties, and it's such a dumb idea. It's so stupid, and I'm not going to talk about on it any further. And if you're pissed about that, good for you. That's all about Adetunji. Let's move on. Alright, now we're going to be talking about religion, which is a major aspect in this entire movie. This is a Christian movie. For those of you that do not know up to this point, I doubt that. It's a Christian movie, so we're going to obviously talk about religion. Religion played a very, very, very important role, a very essential role in this movie. And I'm going to give a very unpopular opinion. Might be popular to some, might frustrate or offend some, but it has to be said, which is religion is majorly to blame in the reason why a lot of men feel the pressure to get married on time. Yeah, I said what I said. It is. If you are a woman in the Christian community, the amount of relationship seminars and marriage seminars that women undergo is like, you can't believe it. You can't believe it. And you might say, oh, men undergo those seminars too. Yeah, right. When they do sisters meeting, trust me, one part of the time is going to talk about relationship. One session is going to be a relationship session, but it doesn't work that way all the time for brothers meetings. And that's just facts. You can argue with whoever you want to argue with. That is just fact. Women feel a lot of pressure to get married in the church. So religion does play a part in influencing. Hey! Religion does play a part in influencing women to get married once they get to a marriageable age. Now, before I move forward, I want to digress a little and talk about marriageable age. There is no such thing. There is no such thing. I've heard other people say, oh, once you get to 25, that's marriageable age. Or once you get to 30, it's not marriageable age. I believe that there is no such thing as marriageable age. Whenever you're comfortable getting married, you get married. There is no such thing. You understand me? You get me? Look into my eyes. You understand me? That's where I'm going to end that conversation. Now, back to the topic at hand, religion. Now, I'm going to talk about two sections when it comes to religion. Abidemi's faith. The movie implied that Abidemi was a Christian woman. She was a Christian girlie who really loved God. And I can say that I kind of saw the aspect of loving God, you know, and all that. But again, I have to ask, did Abidemi really love God? I won't say she didn't love God. Don't get it twisted. But Abidemi gave me the vibe of someone that is zealous but ignorant. The way Paul called the Israelites zealous but ignorant is the same way I would call Abidemi zealous but ignorant. And it's not her fault that she's ignorant. I'm going to be honest. It's not her fault that she's ignorant. She grew up in a society that really places marriage above all knowledge. But as a Christian, you cannot blame culture and tradition for your actions. You can't. As a Christian, you are indoctrinated into a family, and what's the family? The family of God. And so therefore, everything your culture is saying, everything your tradition is saying, if it's against the will of God, you are not supposed to be in support of it. And so even if the tradition is telling you that marry by 25, if the will of God for your life is not to marry at 25, you do not marry at 25 and you do not bat an eye. And that's why Abidemi got it wrong. She had a plan and purpose for her life. You will find out at the end of the movie. And she was so comfortable pushing it away because she hadn't gotten married. Which is absurd to me, to be honest. I did not even, when I watched the movie halfway, like I watched the movie halfway, made a little TikTok about it, and then I watched the movie fully just today. So I didn't even know that she had a purpose for her life until I watched it to the end today. This woman had a whole purpose on empowering and mentoring girls that God had given her. And she completely did not care about it because why she hadn't married. And I think that was an idea of misplaced priorities. And that's just an idea of ignorance of the word, of the scriptures. Abidemi, from the way she was behaving throughout this movie, you could say she wasn't well versed on the scriptures. It kind of showed in her character that she really wasn't well versed in the scriptures. I'm sorry, but that's what I picked up from her. That. Then the second part of faith I wanted to talk about was her wanting to compromise her faith for marriage. This is an enjoyable one I want to discuss now. Now, this one I want to discuss might also offend some people, but it just has to be said because, like I said, this is a movie that is centered on faith. So already I know that people are not going to be happy with something I'm going to say, but I'm still going to say it. Abidemi is a Christian woman, and her second love interest was Muslim. Now, I know lots of girls that do this thing where they date Muslim guys and they're like, oh, it's okay, you know, and they give lots of excuses and they give lots of talk. Now, there's a sentence that was said in this movie by Adetunji, the Muslim love interest. He was like, everybody has flaws. And when he said that, he was talking specifically about religion. Now, I wanted to be clear to my viewers. Religion is not a flaw. Religion is an intricate part of a person's life. I don't even want to call religion a lifestyle. I want to call religion the life. Religion is your life. If you are someone who is dedicated to a God, that God becomes your life. So if you decide to do anything apart from that God, it's basically like you are planning to die. I know this sounds harsh, but that's it. And I'm saying this to the believers. And when I say believers, I even mean believers in any religion whatsoever. If you decide to become a devout person in any faith, that faith has now become your life. So everything you are doing in your life is ruled and controlled by that faith. And so that faith is not a flaw. It is actually absurd to call that faith a flaw. And Abidemi sat there as a devout Christian while a man was telling her that her faith was a flaw. That everybody has flaws. I think the only way marriage between two different faiths can work is if the two people involved are not devout. Let's say I was born in a Christian house and I want to marry a Buddhist that was born in a Buddhist house. But we both don't practice our faith. We're just like, if you ask us which faith are we, just because of societal expectations, we just say, I'm Christian. Ask the other guy, I'm Buddhist. But we don't really actually practice it. We just have the name for checking boxes and stuff. That's the only way two of us can marry, because it's basically like unbelievers marrying. Like, it's basically like atheists marrying. Do you understand? Like, there is no faith because I'm not practicing it. So there is literally no faith that is holding me here. But if you are a devout Christian or a devout person in a faith, someone committed, dedicated to a faith, there is nothing like marrying outside of your faith. And it is not religious intolerance to not marry outside of your faith. What is religious intolerance is not living peaceably with someone outside of your faith. For example, I live in a house, in a compound with a Muslim guy, and I'm always fighting with him because he's Muslim. That's religious intolerance. That doesn't make sense. But if you are marrying a person outside of your faith, that's folly. And me telling you that it's folly is not religious intolerance. It's not. Because marriage is a different ballgame altogether. Friendship is different from marriage. Marriage becomes two, becomes one. How can you become one when one critical part of your life cannot be one? Like, common sense will tell you that doesn't make sense. Common sense. Let's not talk about the spiritual part. Let's talk about the biblical aspect. Common sense will tell you that doesn't make sense. Okay, because I noticed that a lot of adults, they do things without thinking about the future. Even if you and your husband are cool with him waking up in prayer and setting his prayer mat, and you are cool with you waking up in the morning and doing your speaking in tongues at the back somewhere, if both of you are cool with that, how do you think your children would feel? I think it's selfishness among adults to not think about how your children would feel. What religion would your children claim? The husband side? Most of the time that's what the children claim because it's Nigeria and obviously the husband side. So okay, they claim the husband side. And I also want to ask you, if your husband is Muslim, as a Christian woman, are you okay? Let's use Abidemi for example, the one that she was given a vision, Abi. I know that was a dream, but let's just look at it as plain sight. She was given a vision that her children will be singers, will be preachers of the gospel. One will be preacher by word, another will be preacher by song, right? As a Christian woman that has been given that kind of mantle on your head, you know there's really a lot of work to be done on your end for your children. Then you gotta marry a man that names your child Rashida and Aishatu. There is nothing wrong with Rashida and Aishatu. But in this case, you have already disobeyed God. So how does that make sense to you? How does that make sense to you? So when I'm saying two different faiths should not marry, it's not because he called it, I literally called it judgmental. It's not because of judgment anything. It's because we can't possibly marry. We don't have the same values. And I don't know why people find this one so offensive to think about. I don't know why it's so offensive, because there's some people that are like, I just can't marry a soldier. I just can't marry a soldier. I'm not ready for that kind of commitment. I just can't marry a missionary. I'm not ready for that kind of commitment. And nobody gets offended. Because why? That's my value. I just can't marry a man that smokes. I just can't marry a woman that goes to the club. That's my personal preference. And nobody gets offended. But when people say, I just can't marry this particular faith, I can't marry outside my faith, people get offended. Why? Everybody has values in life. And faith is a very major value in life, in case you're not aware. It's an intrinsic part of your life. You cannot overlook faith. Even if you decide, as the man and the woman involved, to overlook faith, your children will call. It's not possible. I don't even see the possibility. Because even if that man agrees for you, because I know that most of the time, it's the woman that's saying no compromise. Many of you think he's play. You think he's he say he doesn't mind. That man will still come and talk to you after marriage and tell you do this, and you will not have choice by the time they call family meeting on your head that you are disobeying your husband. Because many of this Nigerian, when you don't like to hear word, you think it's play, they are playing inside the marriage. But that's even by the way, I was saying something. Those two people that say they want to marry outside of their faith, but are devoted to their faith. Let me explain how it's going to work to you. I'm reading a Muslim book right now, a book written by a Muslim author, so I know that Muslim people have several prayers in a day. So you now marry a man. The morning time he prays his morning prayer on his mat. He doesn't call you. The evening time, the afternoon time he does it. Third time he does it. Fourth time he does it. Don't you think that by the fifth time you'll be like, ah, far babe, you know if you join me for one prayer? Or you now, the woman, you are going to your midweek service. You go on Wednesday. You go on Thursday. You go for Friday with you. Sunday you want to go to church. You don't think it will scratch your body to tell your bobo, your husband, that alpha bros, if you follow me go church one day, your hand will break. I mean, you think that you will just be forever comfortable. You won't be comfortable. That's why I say that kind of marriage can only work with people that are not devout in their faith. Like you are not committed, you are not practicing it. But if you say you are a practicing Christian, practicing Muslim, practicing Jew, whatever, you cannot marry someone of your faith. Because you would want the love of your life to practice what you practice, for goodness sake. You want to go hand in hand with your wife to church. You want to come back from church and do a little Bible study. You want to send your I know that Muslims have this Quran school they send their children to. You want to send your children to Quran school, and you don't want any opposition from your partner. So what happens then? Can you see why it's not religious intolerance? It's just common sense. It's just common sense. It's not because you don't like the guy. It's possible to like the characteristics of someone that is in that faith. But when it boils down to the foundation, that relationship cannot work out. There will be a lot of tension. In the beginning, you might just, but at the end of the day, the tension will be clear and the elephant in the room will need to be addressed. And unfortunately, when it's finally addressed, it might cause a divorce. It might cause a divorce. Except somebody is willing to compromise, somebody is willing to sacrifice their own religion, it might cause a divorce. So why enter what you know would end in tears? So yeah, Abidemi was willing to compromise her faith for marriage. Please, Christian woman, do not do that. Christian women in this Nigerian society, you will regret it. You will regret it. You will regret it. Oh, your ear like that. Say, I will regret it. We'll be going into the third segment of the day. Not stress me. So basically, at the end of the movie, Abidemi finally, after talking to the therapist, she decided to just focus on herself, focus on her purpose, which is to empower and mentor girls. And she just did that and kind of held back on marriage for a while. It doesn't mean she still doesn't desire marriage. She still wants to get married one day, but is she going to prioritize that over what God told her to do with her life? No, she's not going to do that. And I think that's an amazing ending, because really, it would have pissed me off if she actually ended up getting married. I wanted to just talk about Abidemi's purpose of empowering and mentoring girls. I genuinely feel like Abidemi needed to go through this. See, the way God works is so funny. If Abidemi did not go through this and she went straight to her purpose, you know that she would have led many girls astray. Because she did not even understand what it is to be a Christian woman. She didn't. Because why? She prioritized marriage over God. So if she was educating or if she was mentoring anybody, she would be telling them to prioritize marriage over God. She would be asking them, how are you preparing to get a man soon? Do you have a boyfriend? Those would be the questions she would be asking those young girls, instead of teaching them about God's purpose and plan for their lives. So God actually had to make her go through this trial and temptation. See shege, expunge or extrapolate that idolatry for marriage out of her first before he could let her face her purpose. Because if not, she would have been a bad mentor to those children. Okay. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the therapist. It's therapist 101, it's professional therapist 101. That even if somebody comes to your office and tells you, I just raped 5 girls, I just beat 10 boys, I just dismembered 15 people, you're not to give a look of disgust on your face. Actually, there were so many judgmental expressions. I'm gonna put it up here that Pastor Laju was just displaying. I was like, are you sure you're in therapy? Your face is supposed to be neutral, like as if another day, another drama. Do you understand? So I didn't really like the fact that her face was always changing from like one face to another. I didn't like it. It was very unprofessional. I started to chip it in here. Please, Pastor Laju, I love you. And also because I've noticed that in the Christian community a lot, that even the people that are trying to confide in, they'll be giving you judgmental expressions. Those are not right. If your brother in Christ is coming to talk to you about something and you are in a mentorship position, please remember to keep a neutral expression. Even if they're telling you something horrifying, keep a neutral expression. That's the job of a therapist. That's the job of a counselor. If I was to be judged, I would have carried my microphone and gone to town square to tell everybody my bad behavior. But I came to you because I wanted you to not judge me. Do you understand? So that's just by the way. On to the conclusion. I'm so excited. All in all, I loved this movie. I loved it because I don't watch Nigerian movies a lot, but I actually said, let me just give something a try, because I saw it pop up on my YouTube feed, and then my sister did a written review on it. So I was like, okay, if my sister watched this, I think I should watch it as well. And so I did. And I was flabbergasted all the way. I was just flabbergasted. Like, there was varying points of flabbergastion happening. I just said, let me talk about it. The acting was, I won't say it was the best. I think it could have been acted better, but I would just give it, a pass, because first of all, it's a YouTube movie. You don't expect the best actors to be used. Do you understand? They have a minimal budget, but they did well. The actors did well. I'm just saying that there were some times where you're like, okay, this acting is kind of subpar. It's kind of, but they tried. Okay, for what they had going on, they tried. The themes were actually well done. From the prayer till the ending, well done. I usually don't like Nigerian movies because if it was a typical Nigerian movie, she would have ended up getting married. But Pastor Laju broke through the glass ceiling and ensured that this woman that wasn't ready for marriage didn't get married. and that was something that I admired in this Christian movie. I'm going to give the movie a solid 6 or 10 because it actually got me like watching, interested to see what happens next, and it actually brought emotion out of me. Nigerian movies don't do that often. I'm quite dead to their misogyny, but this one actually brought out something out of me. Like I felt, oh my god. So so that's how I know that it's not a bad movie. It's actually a good movie, and I'll recommend it 10 over 10 if you're a Christian woman, if you're a Christian man, if you're a Christian, even if you're not even a Christian, you just want to watch something nice that is culturally relatable, because you know this societal pressure of marriage on women is a culturally relatable topic. It's not just Christian, right? You can still give it a go and watch it. It is a great watch. If you enjoyed this movie review, drop a like, and if you got to the end of this movie, like if you got to the end, write last to marry in the comment section, just so I know that you got to this part of the video, and then share it to your friends, you know, let them watch it as well. Let them like watch this review, maybe to support them to actually go and watch the movie. If you're new to my channel, that means you've never been here before, so this is the first impression you have of me. Oh my god, welcome. Welcome to my little corner of the internet where I talk about whatever I feel like talking about. I'm a yapper, so I yap. Welcome, sit down, go through some of my older videos and just get acquainted with the vibe. Subscribe as well, because you know, if you like this one, you probably like the next one. What are you waiting for? Alright, see you guys in the next one. Bye.